filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Diffuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running, toes they gon' take a few to lose. Built the win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for another episode. I know, man, we had a pretty not interesting. The Super Bowl wasn't really interesting. I like the Super Bowl because I like watching defense, so I had a good time watching it. But some people might say the Super Bowl sucked, but I like defense, so I ain't tripping. And plus, what a great weekend to be a Spartan. Kenneth Walker wins Super Bowl MVP, MSU. Last playing for MSU. So shout out to K9, man, winning at Super Bowl MVP. Shout out to Seahawks for winning the Super Bowl. But that's not why you're here. You're here for this week in college basketball, February 2nd to today, February 8th, where I recap just storylines of the college basketball season for this week. And we'll start with my Michigan State Spartans. Now, they did lose on the road in the barn. If you know me, if you watch this show, I tell y'all all the time, it's always tough to win in the barn, and we did not win in the barn at all. But we bounced back and get a big win in the Braves, like I predicted on the show yesterday. Jeremy Fears had 26 points, 15 assists. I believe it said he was the first player in the Big Ten to have a 25 and 15 game. Might have been the first player in college basketball to have a 25 and 15 game. So shout out to Jeremy Fears. Huge game, huge overtime. He scored basically all our points in overtime except for like 3 or 4. So shout out to him for that. Then we got UNC, who was down the entirety of the game against Duke. Hits a buzzer beater 3 by Seth Trimble to upset Duke at home in the Tobacco Road rivalry. I sensed the comeback when Henry Vazar hit that 3 to tie the game, because that was a bad shot, but it went in. And then Cam Boozer missed the layup. They had that they called a play. Seth Trimble in the corner games it for UNC. So Duke suffers its first loss in ACC play on the road against a rival. New Mexico, man, the Pit. I told myself one day I'm going to watch a home game at the Pit, New Mexico. But New Mexico got put on the Pit, in the Pit this week, losing 2 straight home games against Utah State and then last night against Boise State, Boise State has been on a little streak of late. But, man, New Mexico loses 2 straight home games at the Pit. USC in their first ever 3-game win streak in the Big Ten under Coach Musselman, beating Indiana this weekend. While Chad Baker-Mazar did leave the game with a knee injury, he did not play today against Penn State, as Elijah Arenas is the game winner against Penn State today to beat Penn State at home. On the road, where Penn State is just tough to win games at State College. But USC survives that one. So USC is now on a 3-game win streak after escaping Penn State and beating Indiana at home earlier this week. UC Santa Barbara beats UC Irvine, and Hawaii beats UC San Diego to make Hawaii first place in the WAC, I want to say. No, in the Big West, They're first in the Big West. So shout out to Hawaii for becoming in first place in the Big West. Still a lot of season left. They're still tied with UC Irvine, but they do have the tiebreak over them. And UC Santa Barbara is a half a game back of both of those schools. But shout out to them. Florida dominates Texas A&M yesterday, blowing them out a little scuffle at the end of the game, nothing crazy, but they now move into first place in the SEC with that blowout of a win against Texas A&M. Speaking of Texas A&M, they lose back-to-back this week. They lose to Bama by 3, and then they lose to Florida to not lose their first place spot in the SEC. BYU now is on a 4-game losing streak. Shout out Anthony Roy of Oklahoma State. Absolutely had a great game against BYU and the upset over BYU at home for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And then BYU loses at home to Houston, like I predicted on the show yesterday. So now BYU has now lost to Arizona, Kansas, Oklahoma State, and Houston 4 games in a row. BYU needs to bounce back with a win, but like I said, 4-game losing streak. Shout out to you, my guy. Yeah, I had a good day, man. Great weekend to be a Spartan. Like I said, man, K9 wins MVP. Spartans beat Illinois. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Hopefully you had a good day. Hopefully you enjoyed the Super Bowl. But Miami of Ohio and Arizona remain undefeated. These last 2 undefeated teams, Arizona did blow out Oklahoma State like I thought yesterday, big time. And Marshall absolutely got stomped by Miami of Ohio in the Sun Belt MAC Challenge. Alabama beats Texas A&M, and they beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl to go undefeated this week. Oh, my apologies. Sorry about that. Hopefully you had a great week or a great weekend as well. Sorry about that. Clemson survives the West Coast trip. They escape Stanford. And when I say escape, I do mean escape. And then they blow out Cal yesterday night. Well, yeah, it was an 8 o'clock game there. So it was like a 5 o'clock game there. So they escaped the West Coast trip in the ACC. Kentucky beats Oklahoma and then rallies back again against Tennessee, this time at home. Kentucky was down as much as 14 at halftime. They rallied back to beat Tennessee, to sweep Tennessee on the year. And I said it on Twitter. I'll say it again, man. Kentucky just seems to have Tennessee heart. It is what it is. Huge 3 by Colin Chandler to put them up 2. That was a big 3. But yeah, man, Kentucky comes back again against Tennessee. And now they are in second place in the SEC. So for all the complaining that Kentucky fans did about Mark Pope and his team, they're in second place in the SEC. So shout out to them. Utah State extends their win streak to 5 games and remains in first place in the Mountain West Conference. St. John's smothers UConn to pull within half a game of UConn in the Big East. Now, if they play a game before UConn, which I don't know if they do or not, they will be in first place if they win because they have the tiebreaker over UConn. But the 2 teams do play against each other later on this month. Kansas beats Texas Tech and Utah to keep pace in the Big 12. They have now extended their streak to 7 games. Darren Peterson hit 2 big threes against Texas Tech late in the ball game to win that one, and then they just pulled away from Utah late. But they are now on a 7-game win streak, the Kansas Jayhawks, and they take on Arizona tomorrow and Lawrence. So I will talk about that tomorrow. Michigan keeps destroying opponents, man. On an 8-game win streak, Michigan absolutely destroyed Penn State, and then at home at the Chrysler Center, and then they destroyed Ohio State on the road at the Value City Center. Destroyed them both, won by 20 plus. I think they beat Penn State by like 40, 50 points, but they're on an 8-game win streak, so they're just on a roll. Iowa extends their win streak to 6 games, beating Northwestern today, and they beat Washington earlier this week. Iowa State extends their win streak to 5. They were up big against Baylor. Baylor did rally back, but Iowa State did escape that one. Liberty extends their win streak to 14, and they're on a 4-game. They're ahead in the Conference USA conference by 4 games, man. Everything's looking good for Liberty at the moment. Speaking of Conference USA, Jack State moves into second place in Conference USA, beating Western Kentucky and Kennesaw State. Jack State, man, they're a really good basketball team for Conference USA, man. So shout out to them climbing up to second place. Now, the Sun Belt, and this is the last point I got for y'all. The Sun Belt did, in fact, demolish the MAC in the Sun Belt MAC Challenge. The MAC had 3 winners. Obviously, Miami of Ohio, they beat Marshall 90-74. Northern Iowa escapes Georgia State, winning 75-74. And Ball State beats Joel Monroe 73-68. Now, the MAC won 10 games. The Sun Belt won 10 games. The Sun Belt won UMass, beats Coastal Carolina in the triple. No, not Coastal Carolina beat UMass 94-91 triple overtime, right? Then Eastern Michigan loses to App State 65-60. Western Michigan loses to Texas State 77-61. Arkansas State beats Bowling Green 91-54. Southern Alabama beats Buffalo 91-69. Louisiana Lafayette beats Central Michigan 85-80. Toledo loses to JMU 73-71. Akron loses to Troy 79-69, and Ohio loses to Old Dominion 78-72. So the Sun Belt absolutely destroyed the MAC in the Sun Belt MAC Challenge. Again, the Sun Belt won 10 games, the MAC won 3. So shout out to the Sun Belt for that. And with that being said, these are all the headlines that I have for this week in college basketball. I can't wait to start next week. I will be back tomorrow to talk about some games for Monday and Tuesday. Like I said, Kansas, Arizona tomorrow. That's a big game, so I can't wait to talk about that one. We got more games on deck beyond that. And a special shout out to Elijah Arenas and Jeremy Fears for the games they had today and yesterday. Fears yesterday, Elijah Arenas today. But now to do some house cleaning. Again, this is a network, so please like, comment, share, subscribe to this video and help this channel a lot. We also have shows like The Main Show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. They go live Monday and Thursday, 7 to about 8:30ish. They will definitely be live tomorrow to recap the Super Bowl, so make sure y'all tune into that. We have Unfazed. Unfazed, man, you catch them when they on. They used to go live on Tuesdays, but, you know, things happen. So just catch them when they go on. But that's by Joe and AJ. We have BWT Baseball with Teddy. Just be on the lookout for that when he goes live. The World Baseball Classic does start soon. We have FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. The football season, NFL season is now officially over. So just be on the lookout for whatever content he gives you. Excuse me. We have RBO, Road Ballers Only. Trade deadline is now officially over. It was over Thursday. So All-Star Weekend, I believe, is next weekend. If not next weekend, the weekend after that. But just be on the lookout for shows that's ran by Vaughn, NBA show. We have Dave's Doghouse Highlights and Lowlights of Sport. And in the red corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo boxing episodes for all your boxing needs. Make sure you check them out. They go live on Sundays. Not every Sunday, but when they do go live, it is on Sundays. And that's around 6:30, 7 o'clock. So make sure you tune into those shows as well. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. But with that being said, I'm gone. I will see y'all tomorrow to talk about some games. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.